So a couple months ago, we filmed a video with Nikon on the Z6. It's Nikon's first endeavor into the full frame mirrorless camera world. So there's a lot of camera videos out there on pros and cons of all these different cameras out there. I'm not gonna get into the crazy specs. I'll have a link down below in the description to some of my favorite videos that cover this kind of stuff. I'm gonna say why this camera matters to me and to the content that we create. So just know that this is my opinion. Everything I'm gonna be sharing with you guys today is from my experience working with the Nikon Z6 on one of our last videos and other experiences as well. Okay, so the first biggest selling point for me with this camera is that it films in 4K full frame. Most of the cameras out there that are a mirrorless camera that are out on the market right now, if you film it in 4K, it crops the sensor, which I hate. I love these wide shots, but this is one of the only cameras that exist in the mirrorless space, especially for this price point, that is 4K full frame when you're filming. So big deal right out of the gate. Another huge selling point for me is the fact that it can record 4K at 10-bit. Now, normally it's recording straight into camera at 8-bit, but you can record to an external monitor like the Atomos that we recorded to for our video at 10-bit. Now, here's the deal. Nikon has promised us that coming in the near future, they have promised this, that they will have 12-bit ProRes RAW going into an external device, which to my knowledge, there's nothing out there like that for this price point. So for a filmmaker like me, that's a huge deal. The option to film 4K, 12-bit, ProRes RAW, that will be coming in the near future with the Nikon Z6. So let's talk about the tilted screen. It's this device you guys are seeing right here. As I was watching a lot of other videos that people have done, the one complaint I have heard is that people that love to vlog, you actually can't see yourself with the monitor. But for the kind of videos that we create, we're not vloggers. But I'm never tilting the screen this way so I can see myself anyways. So just keep that in mind, that is a kind of a con for people that love to vlog and see themselves on camera. For what we did, it wasn't an issue. Now with the Nikon Z6, it also has a VR mode, which isn't virtual reality, it's vibration reduction. So it has built into the camera an image stabilizer to get smooth shots. Now a lot of other cameras out there, it's actually built into the lenses. This is built into the camera, so despite what lens you're using, you already have vibration reduction going on right from the gate. No matter what lens you're using, you have that right at the start. Now let's talk about slow motion. Now slow motion, a huge deal for the kind of content that we create. We do a lot of stuff in slow motion. This camera can film at 1080p at 120 frames per second, which a lot of cameras out there on the market for this price point cannot pull that off. They're mostly 720p at 120 frames per second. Now, going back to the Atomos, when you're filming to the Atomos in 10-bit, you also have the option to film at what Nikon calls N-Log, which gives you the best flat profile possible. So when we were filming our Nikon video with them, we were filming in a mall in low light situations, which you want the most information possible from the start, but we were filming everything at flat at N-Log just so we had the most information in color correction. Now let me show you guys some examples of what it looked like when we were filming at N-Log. As you guys can see, the image looks really flat, but once we started color correcting, we had a ton more information to make the image look the best as possible. Now the Nikon Z6, it also has an FX mode and a DX mode. Now what that means for us is the FX mode, it utilizes the full sensor. Now when you change it to DX mode, it actually makes it so the sensor is a 1.5x crop. Now, why would you even want that? Well, let's just say you're filming wildlife. You want to get that much closer to the subject and you don't have a tighter lens, is you can use that crop mode and get that much closer without changing the lens, but still getting the same quality. So battery life, I felt it worked great. I didn't have any issues with everything that we were filming. I wasn't like surprised by it being like a low battery life. It lasted just as long as I'd expect any other camera within that size. But yeah, $2,000-ish, depending on where you're buying the camera from. You're getting a full package and you're getting a great camera, video camera and photography camera. Now, here's some of the complaints that I have heard online is a lot of people are complaining that it has only one card slot. We're used to filming a lot of our videos on the Red camera, which is a much bigger camera, and that only has one card slot. So I'm actually used to only using one card slot. So for me, with the kind of content that we're doing, I personally have never had a card fail, knock on everything in this room, including the wood. But for me, that wasn't a big deal just because I haven't had experience with cards going wrong. But the bigger, higher end cameras that Hollywood are using, they're usually only using one card slot anyways. Most of the people that I saw complaining about that were actually photographers that were doing weddings when you couldn't recreate certain scenes. So I totally get that. But for the kind of stuff that we're doing, a lot of times we can do more than one take. But I personally have never had a card fail on me while I was filming. Now, another con for me as well is the fact that this camera takes a different kind of card than I'm used to as far as CF, CFast, or SD card. It takes an XQD card, which is a really nice, fancy card. It's one of the most reliable cards out there, but it's a very rare card. We were going and we were about to film on our project. We realized we didn't have that kind of card because none of our other cameras take that. So we were rushing on B&H to find a card that would actually work for this camera. So just know going into any project that it's going to be probably harder to find this kind of card if you're not prepared for your shoot. That also means the card reader as well, because it is taking a different kind of card reader as well, not your traditional one. So just be prepared. If you're filming with this camera, you will be buying different cards. They are more reliable than SD cards, CF cards, but they are very rare. The biggest con that I personally experienced with this camera is that there was a slight delay as far as what the camera was seeing based on what I was seeing with my eye. So pulling critical focus where someone's walking right at camera, it was actually really hard to pull focus because I would pull focus and then a millisecond, half a second later, which is pretty big difference, you'd actually see a delay in the monitor, so it was hard to tell exactly what the camera was seeing in real time, which is a big deal. So for me personally, that was the biggest con of the camera. But to wrap all this up, we spent 3 days filming with this camera in low light, fast action. I was blown away by the image legitimately. The fact that I could record 10-bit, I normally have never had that option with other cameras that we've used within this price range. If you are a filmmaker and you are serious about filmmaking and you have a budget of $2,000 to $3,000, I would strongly say that this is one of the best cameras on the market. Nikon knows they're going into this as this is a film camera that is affordable to a lot of people. So they even have a filmmaker kit, which I'll have a link down below in the video description. But that comes with an Atomos monitor. It comes with an image stabilizer similar to the Ronin to get these really smooth tracking shots. So they know that this is one of their first big steps into the video market as far as full frame mirrorless cameras go. Now, a big issue that I've seen with a lot of these cameras as far as Sony, Canon, all these companies coming into the market is when they first put out a camera, it has a very few amount of features as far as it can do 1080p, but it's not full frame, this and that. A lot of issues. Nikon, when they stepped into the game, this is their first step into the arena, and they're putting all their bells and whistles into it right from the start. So it's just really exciting that this is the camera that they're stepping into and they are crushing it. So there you have it. That is my honest opinion of working with the Nikon Z6. Super impressed with the camera. It's not a perfect camera, but there's no such thing, to my knowledge, as a perfect camera, but definitely one of the best cameras out there for the price point. Now, this video didn't go into all the crazy in-depth things that a lot of other people have done. I want to share more of our hands-on experience using it out in the real world, in the field. But if you want more of those kind of the technical, nerdy stuff, I'll have links down below in the description to awesome videos that cover that I would personally highly recommend and suggest. One of them is from my friend Matt, who I'll have pop up at the very end of this just to make your guys' life easy. But definitely check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Over and out.